Shalom, shalom, my beautiful people, and welcome to Biblical Truths Unveiled, the series, and this is my testimony. So, if you watched the other videos, if you haven't, I would encourage you to do so right now. But I was going to do my testimony in a slideshow, but I'm having a couple of technical difficulties, so I decided to do my testimony this way. So I did, if you looked in my previous video, in the interview, yeah, it was an interview, I talked about slightly a few things so you can know me, but I decided to do a full testimony video so you guys can have a better insight as to who I am and how I came about in this truth and knowledge. So yes, like I said, this is the testimony of how myself and my husband, resting in paradise now, but how we both came into the knowledge. There's a video as well on this channel of his testimony, but even though we're one, it's important for you guys to hear from me exactly my testimony. Okay, so yeah, this is no testimony or anything to judge anyone, or I'm not trying to speak anything to offend anyone or to judge anyone. This is just my testimony and my truth. So please don't take offense to anything. Like I said, this is from my perspective, my truth, and I'm here to speak it. So, I want to first start off by my name. I go by EYG, Ariel Gabriel. Now, I grew up on the west side of Chicago, raised by a single mother, and she worked hard to support us both. And when I wasn't, spending time with her or in school, I would spend a lot of time with my grandmother and my grandfather. They helped raise me. Like I said, she was a single working mom. And but I've always, growing up on the west side of Chicago, I've always felt indifferent from everyone else, like my peers, friends, everyone from school. I always felt very, very different. It's a feeling, and I can't really describe or explain in words, but I just always knew I was an outsider, and I just felt like no matter what I do, I just didn't fit in. And I actually would even try to fit in with peers and my friends, and I would go about trying to what I thought was normal. I was like, okay, something has to be wrong with me, so I'm gonna try to fit in and try to be in with the crowd and try to do things that others do, and that just did not work out for me at all. I still felt left out. I still felt like I didn't fit in. I still felt like, just something unexplainable just doesn't seem right, I was having an identity crisis at a young age, if you can say so. So I didn't really understand who I was or anything like that. But I have, of course, like everyone else, I had trials and tribulations throughout my entire life. And the biggest thing that actually pushed me into coming into truth and about my identity and everything was when both of our grandmothers had passed away. My husband's grandmother had passed away first, and he was, going through a lot of grief and a lot of pain. And then I believe 6 months later, my grandmother passed away. So, we both were feeling a lot of pain, and we lacked purpose. We felt like we lacked purpose in life. We felt like that we needed direction because we both were so very close to both of our grandmothers, and losing them both at around the same time, it really put another perspective on everything for the both of us. So we were very hurt, and we both were like, okay, well, what now? Like, that's the first time that either one of us lost someone so very dearly to our hearts, was when we both lost our grandmothers. I took my grief as in, I started doing more of the things that wasn't really myself because I lacked direction. I would used to go always be the type to go to my grandmother with everything. I looked for my grandmother to help me out in situations, and she directed me, or I should say she helped guide me throughout life and make some of the most important decisions that I've ever made in my life. And when she died, I felt like, who's going to help me make these decisions in my life? Who's going to help me be an adult now? My grandmother, she was just there, And I know my husband felt the same exact way about his grandmother, because we both were granny's babies. We both were spoiled rotten, as you could say, by our grandmothers. So we shared that connection. We shared that bond, And, but he took his grief a lot more worse than I did. Like I said, I went off, have an identity crisis, and went off and did so many things that was out of the norm for me. Like, I changed my look every 5 minutes because I was like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't never feel beautiful anymore. It's a lot. It's not even just what looks, but that was just a few examples. Like, I went through so much identity crisis. I didn't know which way was up. I was just so confused and needed direction. And the path I was choosing to go down was not a very positive path. And my husband, like I said, he took his grief a lot worse than I did when his grandmother passed away. And he was so in mourning and in so much grief and sorrow and pain that he wanted to take his life at a point. And I didn't get that far, but that's just that's how he felt, and that's just where he was. So we both, we were taking our griefs very, very hard. We were, seeking answers about things that we didn't even know we were seeking answers about. And I remember my husband telling me that one day he just cried out. He was angry, he was enraged, he was lost, he was emotional. And I remember he told me that he was just crying out to the Most High, like, praying and seeking answers. And if you watch his testimony video, the Most High definitely answered. So when the Most High answered his questions and started revealing things to him, that was the start of his journey. And little did I know, it was also the start of my own. So, of course, in the middle of my husband learning so many things about, our true identity as people, and just so much knowledge that he was gaining, and then he was learning that things I started to see him seeking and learning these things. And at first I didn't really understand, I didn't understand. But then I saw and watched him change. He made positive changes. I saw him reading the Bible more. I saw him he was always a kind person, but it's something about the way that he started to shift and move and try and started to be more conscious of decisions that he was making throughout his life. It's not something I can really put into specific words. It's just I watched this change in him. Like, he completely, I've known my husband since he was 15 years old, and I was 16. That's when we started dating in high school. So when you've been around someone for so very long, and you just see, I'm a living testimony, I'm a living witness to the Most High guiding him in all righteousness. And I'm looking like, wow, that's my husband. he was already a kind individual. But, when I can just tell a bigger difference, that he was really being guided by the Most High. That's the best way I can put it. He was really being guided. He shifted and changed, and in such a positivity, and so conscious and so knowledgeable. A lot of things that he wasn't talking about before. He starts speaking these things and telling me these things. And at first, like I said, I didn't understand it until it inspired me. I knew to believe him. I'm not saying that I didn't believe. I'm just saying that I didn't quite understand what was going on. I saw him changing, but I didn't understand exactly what was going on until it motivated me to start seeking more of my own. He showed me some things and he told me some things, but it's something about when I start asking for myself. The Bible does say we work out our own salvation with fear and trembling. And that's what I had to get in my head that I had to do also. So I start asking, and I start seeking, and I start reading the Bible more, and I start researching, and I started, doing all these things that I saw my husband do. And, excuse me, there's just a long story that I'm trying to make very brief here. It's just that I was a living testimony of my husband and what he gone through, and I was right there, so I know everything was real. So when he changed and started obeying to the Most High, and he was in the obedience, I started, his obedience to the Most High's call and his walk also was the start of mine. So I said all that to say that I thank the Most High for correction. I thank him for allowing me to first be a witness, be a living witness firsthand on how wonderful his grace is. And then how much of seeking him, when he says, "You shall seek me and I shall be found," I know those words are so, so, so very real. And I thank my husband, may he rest in paradise, for obeying the Most High and not taking his own life, but allowing him to come to him, the Most High to come to him, so that he can seek all the questions that he wanted answers to. And I thank him for showing me how to do the very exact same thing that he did. And that is my testimony. It's a lot in a nutshell. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot. I'm a key witness to how wonderful Yah's glory is. I watched my husband change into this beautiful person right before my eyes, and it inspired me so, so very much. So very much. To this day, I'm still inspired to be that, to witness. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a blessing for me to be able to witness his works and his glory. I just knew to believe, It hadn't happened to me yet, the thing that happened to my husband, but I knew to believe. I chose to believe, and it started my walk with the Most High. So I said all that to say, once again, my walk with the Most High started when I watched my husband be obedient and start his walk to the Most High. And I'm telling you guys, it is one of the most amazing journeys that you can ever start in your life. And I'm so grateful to be able to share with you guys what I saw and witnessed, and what I am currently seeking and currently walking on this same journey. So that's my testimony. I hope you guys can fully understand. I know I rambled a little bit, but bear with me, okay? Because I'm not really used to, you know, speaking like this, but it's just what it is. But thank you so much, guys, for listening. And I hope you guys can understand a little bit of where I'm coming from. I hope I didn't ramble too much. I hope those would have eyes, I hope you see. And those who have ears, let them hear. I hope you guys can understand me and what I'm saying to you. But thank you so much, guys. If you haven't by now, like, comment, subscribe to my channel, our channel. And there's much more to come. Shalom.